Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Aleph Zero Hotel. This hotel's purpose is to show you how hard it is to wrap your relatively finite mind around the concept of infinity. So, the Aleph Zero Hotel is completely full, totally booked up with an infinite number of guests. For this first scenario, I'm going to assume only one guest walks into the hotel to ask for a room.
Jake the Hedgehog, this Aleph Zero Hotel is full. I wonder if this hotel has a last room, because I would like to have a room.
Oh, Clara the Catastrophizer, you've come to the right place. The Aleph Zero Hotel doesn't have a last room. I'm going to ask everyone to move to the next room. Attention everyone, we have a new guest. To make room for this new guest, I'm going to need you to move from room N to room N+1. In other words, move to the next room. Everyone is moving to room N+1, which means that room 1 is now available for you.
Thanks, Jake. Now I can enjoy my new room, though I will need to change rooms in case more guests come to rent rooms.
See? It was easy. In this first scenario in which a new guest arrives to rent a room, each current guest moves from room N to room N+1, opening up the first room. But what if a bus unloads 40 new people looking for rooms? That's more of a challenge than just one new guest arriving to look for a room. For this second scenario, I'm going to assume one of 40 guests walks into the hotel to ask for a room for themselves and 39 other guests.
Hello Jake. 39 other guests and I would like a room for each of us. Will you ask the guests to move from room N to room N+40 so we'll get the first 40 rooms?
Sure I will. Float toward the green wisp. I'm going to ask everyone to move to the room that is 40 numbers higher than their current room number. Attention everyone, we have 40 new guests. I'm going to need you to move from room N to room N+40. In other words, move to the room 40 higher than your current room. Everyone is moving to room N+40, which means that rooms 1 to 40 are now available for you and your 39 comrades. You may head to room 1.
Thanks very much. My 39 friends and I will enjoy our stay at the Aleph Zero Hotel.
A little more difficult, but still manageable. This strategy works for any finite number of guests. This is where the fun begins. Now it's time for a real challenge. What if an infinitely large bus with a countably infinite amount of passengers arrives to rent rooms? For this third scenario, I'm going to assume a countably infinite number of guests walks into the hotel to rent rooms.
Jake. I and a countably infinite amount of guests would like to rent rooms. Will you tell everyone to move from room N to room 2N to open the odd-numbered rooms?
Absolutely, Incinerate the fire elemental ghost. I'm going to ask everyone to move to the room that is double their current room number. Attention everyone, we have an infinite number of new guests. I'm going to need you to move from room N to room 2N. In other words, move to the room double your current room. Everyone is moving to room 2N to fill the even-numbered rooms, which means the odd-numbered rooms are now available for you and infinite guests. You may head to room 1.
Thanks, handsome. My infinite number of guests and I are going to have a blast.
Everyone is happy, and the hotel's business is booming more than ever. Actually, it's booming the same amount as ever, banking an infinite number of dollars a day. Now for the ultimate test in which the unthinkable happens. What if an infinite line of infinitely large buses, each with a countably infinite number of passengers, arrives? Now, I wonder what I'm going to do. If I cannot find rooms for them, the Aleph Zero Hotel will lose an infinite amount of money, and I will certainly lose my job. Wait a minute, I remember that there is an infinite quantity of prime numbers. Let's begin this fourth and final scenario. For this fourth and last scenario, I'm going to accomplish this task with prime numbers. I'm going to assign every existing guest's powers of the first prime, 2. Attention all existing guests in the hotel. I'm going to need you to move to room 2 to the nth power. In other words, move to room 2 raised to the power of your current room. Everyone is moving to room 2 to the n. I'm going to assign everyone on the first infinite bus powers of the next prime, 3. This will continue for all infinite buses. Attention everyone on the first infinite bus, I'm going to need you to enter room 3 to the nth power. In other words, enter room 3 raised to the power of your seed number. Everyone on the second bus will be assigned powers of the third prime, 5. The third bus will be assigned powers of the fourth prime, 7, and so on. Since each of these numbers only has 1 and the natural number powers of their prime number base as factors, there are no overlapping room numbers. Everyone gets a unique room. Using this method, I can accommodate every passenger on every bus, although some rooms, like room 6, will remain unfilled, since 6 isn't a power of any prime number. Luckily, my boss isn't very good in math, so my job is safe. My strategies only work because while the Aleph Zero Hotel is a logistical nightmare, it only deals with the lowest level of infinity, the countable infinity of natural numbers. If I were to deal with a higher level of infinity, such as Aleph 1, my strategies wouldn't work, as there is no way to systematically include every number. Take the real number infinite hotel, or the Aleph 1 hotel, for example. It has negative number rooms, fractional rooms, irrational number rooms, and transcendental rooms. Seriously, who in their right mind would ever want to work at the Aleph 1 hotel, even for an infinite salary? If I'm going to be honest, I definitely wouldn't want to work there. I respect myself far too much to want to overwork myself to insanity at the Aleph 1 hotel. But here at the Aleph Zero Hotel, there's never any vacancy and always room for more. The scenarios I face serve to remind you how hard it is to understand infinity, but anyway, I'm going to have some guests fill the infinitely many empty rooms. See you later.